My mom laughed triumphantly, unearthing a decade of betrayal and a shocking proposition. Staring at the phone, my hands trembled. It had been buzzing incessantly for the past hour, each a fresh wave of nausea. It was Mark, my fiancé, eager to solidify plans for meeting my parents. The thought alone sent shivers down my spine, dredging up a lifetime of pain. Mark's voice, full of innocent anticipation, echoed in the voicemail. Hey, just checking in. We really need to set something up with your folks soon. Call me back, okay? With a sigh, I surveyed my small apartment, my sanctuary, a haven far removed from the chilling memories of my childhood. Dad walked out when I was 5, and Mom transformed. She became a glacier, distant, unforgiving, and I, inexplicably, became the target of her glacial fury. Rick, my stepdad, was a decent man, the bomb to her coldness, and Lily, my sister, was everything I wasn't showered with adoration, basking in a warmth I could only dream of. Finally, steeling myself, I answered. Hey Mark, I managed, feigning cheerfulness. Emily, I've been trying to reach you, so when can we pencil in a meeting with your parents? Mark's enthusiasm was a sharp contrast to the dread that gripped me. I'm not sure, Mark. It's complicated. I fiddled nervously with a pen. Complicated? What's so complicated? I'm dying to meet the incredible people who raised my amazing fiancé. You wouldn't be saying that if you actually knew my mom. She's a lot to handle. A moment of silence stretched between us. Is everything okay? You know you can tell me anything. I inhaled deeply, trying to quell the rising panic. It's just, my mom and I, we don't really have the best relationship. She's always been hard on me. It's nothing like your family. Mark's voice softened. I'm here for you, Emily. We'll figure this out together. Maybe it's time to face this head on. The thought of facing Mom's sharp tongue and glacial demeanor was truly terrifying. Yeah, maybe, I said, the words hollow even to my own ears. Let's talk about it later. I need some time to think. Okay, I love you. You know that, right? I know. Cool, Mark. I love you too. The words felt heavy, laced with the weight of years of unspoken pain. They were tough, to say the least. I remember one particularly hard day. I was 7 trying to do my homework at the kitchen table, her face tight with worry and frustration. Emily, can't you see I'm busy? Stop making that racket with your pencil. She snapped suddenly. I looked up. Sorry, Mom, she seemed happier. When Lily was born, it was like I became invisible. One evening, I wasn't meant to hear, but I did. She's just so difficult, Rick. I don't know what to do with her. Mom's voice was full of frustration. I felt my heart sink. Even then I knew she was talking about me. She's just a kid, Helen. She needs your love, not your disappointment, but Mom wouldn't listen. She reminds me too much of him. That, I cried myself to sleep. As I got older, the gap between us only widowed. When I was around 10 o'clock, I remember trying to show Mom a drawing I'd done in school. Look, Mom, I got an on this, I said, holding up my artwork. She barely glanced at it. That's nice, dear. Go show Lily I'm busy. He took one look at my drawing and smiled. This is fantastic, Emily, you'll really tell. I remember how warm his praise felt, but it couldn't fill the void left by Mom's indifference. Those years were a blur, feeling like I didn't belong, like I was an outsider in my own home. Mom was always quick to point out my flaws. It was a constant stream of that outfit is unflattering, or why can't you be more like Lily? My teenage years were like navigating a minefield. Always cautious. I was 15 when the weight of her words really started to bear down on me. One evening, I was getting ready for a school dance. I picked out a dress I thought looked pretty good on me. I twirled in front of the mirror in my room, feeling a rare moment of confidence. Mom, can you help me with my hair? I called out. Stepping into the living room, Mom looked up from her magazine. You're wearing that. It's a bit snug. Don't you think? You should really watch your weight. I thought it looked okay. Play stammered, my confidence shattering. Mom sighed. Let me do your hair. Maybe it will draw attention away from your figure. I sat there in silence, either. One day, I was sitting with a few classmates at lunch, talking about our families. Emily, what's your mom like? Sarah asked casually. I hesitated, not sure how to answer. Sarah seemed to sense the tension in my voice. Hey, so okay? Mine's always on my case about grades. Back at home, things got even more strange, and I started to show interest in voice. One time I had a guy from school, Jake, come over to study. That's funny, and I kind of liked him. We were in the living room working on a project. When Mom walked in, she gave Jake a cold look before turning to me. Emily, make sure you're actually studying and not distracting the boy with your silly crushes. I was mortified. Jake looked uncomfortable, and the air was filled with awkwardness. After he left, I confronted Mom. Why did you have to say that in front of Jake? It was so embarrassing. Mom shrugged on. I'm just stating the obvious, Emily. And from that point on, home. During those years, I often sought refuge in Rick, my stepdad. More understanding. One evening when Mom was out, Rick, do you think I'm unattractive? I asked President. Rick looked surprised. Emily, you're beautiful. Don't ever let anyone make you feel otherwise, not even your mom. By the time I hit my early 20s, especially when it came to relationships, I was always second guessing myself. I remember dating a guy named Alex during college. He was sweet and seemed to genuinely like me. One day I decided to introduce him to my family. Despite my reservations about Mom, we were having dinner at my parents' house. Rick was his usual welcoming self. She had this way of giving backhanded compliments that could cut you down to seize. So Alex, what are you studying? Mom, I'm hoping to get into renewable energy projects after graduation. That's ambitious. Hopefully, you're not biting off more than you and chew like some people. I felt my face heat up with embarrassment. Alex seemed to sense the tension. The evening went downhill from there. When Alex and I were leaving, I apologized profusely. I'm so sorry about that, Alex. My mom can be difficult. Alex squeezed my hand. Hey, it's not your fault, but it does make things a bit complicated, doesn't it? The relationship eventually fizzled out. It wasn't just about that night, but it was a pattern. My insecurities, fueled by Mom's constant belittling, made it hard to maintain a healthy relationship. Fast forward a few years and I met Mark, and he had a way of making me feel valued. One evening, we were at my apartment talking about our future. Emily, I love you and I want us to have a future together. I love you too, Mark, but I'm scared. My past. Text my mom. I don't want to drag you into my issues. Mark looked into my eyes. Your past doesn't define us. Yes, it's part of you, but it doesn't have to dictate our future. We'll face it together. The day of the dinner with my parents had me tangled in nerves. Mark, always optimistic, tried to ease my anxiety as we drove to my parents' house. It's just dinner, Emily. It'll be okay, he reassured me. We were greeted at the door by Rick. His warm smile, a small comfort. Emily, Mark, welcome, come on in, he said cheerfully. Mom was in the kitchen, and as I saw her, I felt a familiar tension grip me. Dinner's nearly ready. Why don't you both sit down? She said, gesturing towards the dining table. The atmosphere was strained as we all sat down. So Mark, what do you do for a living? Mark, I actually own a company. We specialize in environmental consulting. I saw a flicker of something in Mom's eyes. That his response. Was it interesting? Or maybe even greed? It was hard to tell. That sounds impressive, Mom said, her tone suddenly more amicable. A company owner. No less. You must be doing quite well for yourself. Belittling me and praising my younger sister, Lily. Every now and then she would direct the conversation back to Mark, asking about his business and future plans. As we left that evening, I felt a mix of relief and frustration. Your mom seems interested in my business, a bit interested maybe. My side feeling drained. Yeah, she has a way of evaluating people. I'm sorry, Mark. This is just how it's always been. Mark squeezed my hand. We're in this together, Emily, remember that. The next morning, it was an unknown number. I watched his expression change from curiosity to shock. Hang on, what did you just say? Mark, I can hear a faint. Mark hung, his face a mix of confusion and anger. That was your mom, he said, looking at me. She just proposed something outrageous. I felt a cold shiver down my spine. What are you talking about, Mark? He took a deep breath. She suggested that I should leave you and consider marrying Lily instead. I felt like I've been punched in the stomach. She said what? She said that you weren't right for me and that Lily would be a better fit, Emily. I was speechless. The idea that my own mother would go to such lengths was beyond belief. We need to do something about this, Mark said, his jaw. This isn't just about us anymore, it's about exposing her for who she really is. I nodded, a mix of anger and determination building inside me. Let's do it. The plan was sad. Mark would call my mom back, expressing interest in her proposal, and we would record the conversation. That evening we sat in my living room, the phone on speaker. Hello, Helen, it's Mark. Mark, darling, I'm so glad you called back. Have you thought about what I suggested? Mom's voice was sickly sweet. Mark played along. Yes, I have. It's an interesting idea. But I need to know, why do you think Emily isn't right for me? It was a pause. Mark, you're such a catch. You deserve someone better. Someone like Lily. Emily has always been a bit of a disappointment. My heart ached hearing those words, but I stayed silent. We should meet and discuss this further. Maybe over coffee, Mark suggested. That sounds wonderful. Let's do it. I'll arrange a time and place, Mom replied. After hanging up, I felt a whirlwind of emotions, her anger, betrayal, but there was also a sense of purpose. We had a plan and it was time to expose Mom's true nature. The next few days were a blur of planning and apprehension. Mark and I were going to catch my mom in her own game. He arranged to meet her at a cafe downtown and I decided to be their disguise so I could see everything for myself. On the day of their meeting, I wore a wig and overseas and sunglasses, looking like someone completely different. I sat at a table with a clear view of them, my heart pounding in my chest, taking a seat at a table near the window. A few minutes later, Mom showed up. So good to see you, she said, sitting down. Thanks for meeting me. Helen, Mark replied. So about your proposal. I think it's for the best, Mark. Emily is not suitable for you. Lily, on the other hand, is perfect. She's everything Emily isn't. I felt a lump in my throat listening to her words. Mark glanced in my direction, giving a subtle nod to indicate the recorder was on. But why are you so against Emily? Mark playing his part perfectly. Between us, her father left and she just reminds me of all the bad times. Lily, is my real daughter the one I actually care about? My hands were shaking under the table as soon as Mom left. I can't believe she said those things I said, tears welling up in my eyes. Mark took my hand. I'm so sorry, Emily, but now we have proof. What do you want to do with? I took a deep breath, feeling a mix of sadness and determination. We expose her to at the next family gathering, and everyone needs to know the truth. We'll do it together, reveal my mom's true colors to everyone who had been in the dark for far too long. The tension was thick in the air. Little did everyone know Mark and I had a revelation planned that would change everything. As we sat down to eat, my mom, with a triumphant look in her eyes, couldn't hold back. Emily, I have some news. Mark could see the light. What are you talking about, Helen? Rick, his voice filled with disbelief. I reached into my purse, pulled out my phone, and pressed play. The room fell silent as the recording of Mom's conversation with Mark filled the air. I never wanted Emily. Her father left. Lily, is my real daughter the one I actually care about? As the recording continued, Mom's face turned pale. Rick looked at her, disbelief etched on his face. What is this, Emily? Rick stammered, his voice filled with hurt. Tell him to leave me for Lily. Tell him how little you think of me, Emily. This is nonsense. I cut her off. My voice steadied despite the turmoil inside. For once you're going to listen. I only married Rick out of desperation. If I hadn't had Emily, I could have found someone rich as smart as she's always been a burden. As the recording ended, Helen, is this true? Did you really say these things? Rick asked, his voice trembling. Mom was at a loss for words. Per usual, composure shatter. Pushing his chair back, I can't believe this. All these years, I have no idea. He looked at me, his eyes full of sorrow. I'm so sorry, Emily. I had no idea. Mom finally found her voice. Rick, I didn't mean it. It was just, but Rick wasn't having. No, Helen, this is unforgivable. I need to think about all of this. He left the room quickly, leaving a heavy silence behind. Mom broke down, sobbing, her usual composed demeanor shatter. Mark took my hand, giving it a reassuring squeeze. You did the right thing, Emily. It's over. It's finally over. In the following weeks, Rick filed for divorce. I didn't speak to Mom or Lily again. It was painful, but it was a necessary closure. Mark and I got married in a small ceremony. Rick was there smiling through his tears. He was the only family I needed. As I stood there with Mark, I realized that I was finally free from the shadows of my past. I have found love not just with Mark, but within myself. For the first time in my life, I felt truly happy and at peace. So, Reddit, after hearing everything, all the pain, the betrayal, the shocking proposition, do you think I handled the situation correctly? Was exposing my mom the right thing to do, even if it meant shattering my family and revealing a truth that had been buried for so long? I'm struggling with the aftermath, the complete severing of ties, and the lingering guilt. Please share your thoughts. Your perspectives would mean a great deal to me right now.